name's Shell. Welcome to my channel. I'm documenting here my weight loss journey on the new Weight Watchers 2025 plan. This is my second weigh-in and it's the 14th of January today, and it's very cold still. Not as cold as it has been. It's been down to -6 at night here, so I've got my big furry cape thing on today because it's still quite chilly. Our house is very old, it's over 100 years old, and it seems to take a while to warm up. When it warms up outside, it seems to take a couple of days before that warmth penetrates in through the, it's a very thick brickwork, so it takes a couple of days before the warmth comes in and warms everywhere up, so I'm still being quite cold. I've had a really good week on Weight Watchers, and this week I did what I said I was going to do last week and completely trusted the plan and ate every point that was available to me. I get 23 points a day and 21 points a week, plus I didn't get as many exercise points as I normally do because of the cold. We haven't been out anywhere, and also my arthritis hasn't been good, so I did miss 2 or 3 days where I'd normally walk on the treadmill. So I only managed to get about 10 points throughout the week, extra exercise points. So this week I've eaten all the points, every point that was available to me, to see if I could trust in the plan, and it's been a lovely week of food and I've never felt hungry at all. It's been really good. So I'll just have a quick look at my notes to see what I've got to tell you about. The groups is the first thing. I have been to several groups this week. I think I went to 3. I still haven't found what I call my forever group. I went to one, the larger groups are very inspirational and they tend to be the consultants with the most charisma and the ones that give you sort of enthusiasm, but they're not very intimate groups because obviously they attract most of the members, so they tend to be very large. I'm looking for a group that's smallish, and when I've been going to the groups, I'm looking for one where the consultant asks the people there, oh, how have you been this week? Did your mum come to visit? Did she bring her cakes? And on to the next one, well, did your son come home from college? So somebody that knows the members and what they're doing, rather than just as if they don't know who they are, and one where the members talk to each other as if they know each other. I did have this last time I did Weight Watchers online a few years ago. I found a fantastic consultant and we had such a lovely group. Everybody knew everybody and it was quite a close group, and I'm looking for that again and I haven't found it yet, but there are so many groups to go to all day that it might take me a while to find the exact group that's going to be my weekly group. Having said that, I have been to some really nice groups this week and they're very inspirational to listen to, but I haven't taken part really. I've just sat in the background on the Zoom with my camera and microphone off and just listened. But they have been good groups to go to. The second thing is I have stopped tracking on the app. I've stopped tracking on the Weight Watchers app. It's perfectly doable. Obviously if you can see it's doable, but it is perfectly doable for a blind person to do it. It's just that my skills on the mobile phone aren't quite as good as perhaps they ought to be, and I'm finding it quite slow. And I've always preferred to track anything, whether it's been calories or Slimming World or anything. I prefer to track on a text document. I like to have all the points or sins or calories there, and I like to juggle them and I like to do the maths. And at the beginning of the day I decide what I'm going to eat and I put it all down for the meals throughout the day, and I've put the points of what I'm going to have. Now it can change later on, but at the beginning of the day I put down all the points that I'm going to have so I know what I'm eating throughout the day. And I found it very easy to find out on the Weight Watchers app how many points are in things. That's great, that's no problem. but it's actually putting in the amounts and filling in the daily tracker I'm finding is so time consuming that I'd much rather do it on my own computer. So I look up the foods that I'm going to eat and I keep a note of them on the computer what they are, so it's really quick then to look how many points are in these sausages or how many points is in this drink, and it's very easy then to just jot them down. I will go back to the app and check them every now and again, but it means I only have to go to the app once to find out how many points is in a thing, and then I've got it written down. That's what I've been doing. I have found some of the things on the app a bit inconsistent. I'll tell you about that shortly. Some of the other things that I've been eating this week. So I've been eating the same breakfast, which I'm quite happy with, which is 40 grams of oats and fruit, either porridge with raspberries or and bananas, or dry oats and apple. That's sort of been a staple for the last 2 weeks. The first week, I struggled a bit with my dinner time. When I'm not on a diet, I've usually eaten quite a lot by dinner time, so I'm not particularly hungry, and I'm quite happy to just have a cup of soup or something like that, because often for breakfast, if I'm not on any sort of plan, I'll have 2 great big huge doorsteps of toast up to its knees in peanut butter, so I'm not particularly hungry by dinner time. But doing the Weight Watchers plan and having breakfast at around about 7 in the morning, by the time it gets to dinner time at 1 o'clock, I am really hungry. Last week I made a huge pan of vegetable soup, which I had with various things, with thins or with pita breads, and it was nice, but I wasn't full afterwards. I didn't feel that satisfying full feeling. That starts to feed on itself as I'm approaching dinner time. If I don't think I'm going to be satisfied, I almost start to panic because I know that the food isn't going to be enough. So I was a bit worked up about that last week. Although I enjoyed what I ate and it was a good amount of food, I didn't feel satisfied. Well, this week I've sorted that out and I've found the most amazing dinner that I can't imagine myself eating anything else for a long time now. It's going to be at least a 6-monther, this one, I think. And what it came down to, I went shopping this week. Last week when I started Weight Watchers, I hadn't been shopping before I decided to do the plan, so I didn't have anything in that was free. This week I went shopping and I bought Quorn chunks, frozen Quorn chunks, and also slabs of tofu, just the plain tofu, the sort that you don't have to drain. And I found having a Warburton's pita bread, which is 4 points, filling it with either tofu or particularly the Quorn chunks, which are free, and then filling the rest up with salad and just a tiny little splash of mustard, has been an absolute game changer, because it really fills me up, especially with the Quorn chunks, because you can really stuff it full of Quorn chunks, and it makes a great big fat pita bread, which looks very appealing to me anyway, because it's a nice big thing. It's warm, even though it's got salad in it, and it's very, very satisfying. And every time I've finished it this week, I've had the same thing every day, apart from one day when I stuffed it with chickpeas, which was also very nice, but obviously chickpeas are a lot higher, although they're free, they're a lot higher in calories than Quorn or tofu. And every dinner time, as soon as I finish my lunch, I sit down and think, yeah, I feel really satisfied. I feel I've got that pleasant, warm, nice, satisfied feel, and it's kept me going till tea time. So that's been a real game changer this week. It's really made a big difference. Tea, although I'm happy to have breakfast and lunch the same every day, I wouldn't like to have the same tea twice in a row. I like to have something different every night. And we've had various things this week. One thing we had was, this is Ben's spicy lentil stew. I turn it around both ways, I'm not sure which is the front. And I got this from a tip from Luke John, who is doing Slimming World on his channel, although he's ill with tonsillitis at the minute. And he recommended this, and I thought I would try it. It is 6 points for the whole pack. It says serves 2, which is absolutely ridiculous how that could serve 2. I thought it was quite small for 1, but that's just me. It's 6 points for the whole pack, and it's very tasty and warming, and of course just takes a second to warm up. So we tried that this week, and we had it with bread. 100 grams of bread is 6 points on Weight Watchers, and so if you to have that, and this, that would maybe 12 points. I don't think I had 100 grams of bread. I had less than that, but that was a lovely warm meal. I enjoyed that very much. So I bought these off Amazon. You could buy a pack of 6. I think they were about £12 for 6, which is pretty good really, and they're nice and tasty. And if you haven't got much time, just bung them in the microwave and they're done. I think that was the only meal we had like that. Everything else throughout this week I cooked myself, making it low points. We had curries, we had like a Korean style meal one night. We had Slimming World chips another night. But it's been really, really nice. So of an evening this week I've had some of these. I don't know which way these are now. Walker's sea salt baked crisps. I really like these. I've always liked these, and these are 5 points for a bag, which I think is quite high really considering, but I tend to nibble at them and they can last me up to half an hour to eat the whole bag. So it's quite satisfying. I love those. 5 points is pretty good. But I have to say that most of my snacky points is spent on chocolate, and particularly Nomo chocolate bars, which are my favourite. Nomo salted caramel, as I've said before, but I could eat that every night, and I have eaten them most nights for getting on for a year or two now, because they're my favourite chocolate. The other thing is drinks, yes. So over night time, I don't like to drink a cup of tea or a cup of coffee whilst we're watching something before bed. We always watch something for an hour, Andy and I together, at least an hour, sometimes 2 hours. But in the last hour I like to have a drink, and I don't like to have tea or coffee because if I do I tend to be up all through the night going to the loo. So I like a little drink of something tasty. So sometimes I've had a glass of wine this week, so the small glass of wine I have is 3 points. So there's still room for 3 points of snackies, which is usually chocolate. Other times I've wanted to have, say if I've had these crisps, that would be too much to have, if I have 5 points on crisps, it's too much to have a glass of wine. So I've been having this, which is Sainsbury's no added sugar pomegranate juice. It's really tasty. I wanted the fresh, the really fresh pomegranate juice that's in that weird bottle. I don't know if you've seen that weird shaped bottle. It's like 3 balls on top of each other getting smaller. And I really like that one, but they didn't sell it at Sainsbury's. They only had this one. This turns out only to be 1 point for a glass. So it works out ideal for me. If I have the crisps for 5 points and a glass of this for 1 point, and it's really nice. Really, I enjoyed that very much. It's all a case of working it out. I save 6 points normally for my snacks at night. And the other thing I had was orange juice, which surprisingly is only 2 points for a glass. I thought it would be a lot more than that, but it's only 2 points, so that's another nice thing to have in an evening, just a small glass of orange juice. I'm only talking about 150 ml, so it's quite small. But that's the thing where I found an inconsistency on the Weight Watchers app. When I measured the wine out, it gives you different things to measure in, and you can change that to what you want. And the wine you could measure in glasses, a small glass. Well, I mean that's very subjective as to what you call a small glass. Or you can measure it out in mils, so I could measure out 150 mils. When it came to the pomegranate juice, it measured it in a small glass, or it measured it in grams. I mean, who measures a gram of liquid? So that had to be weighed out on the scales to find out what the grams were. And the orange juice, it measured in glasses, a small glass, or fluid ounces. So it's not very consistent as to how you work things out. I wish it just had everything, all the liquids in mils, glasses and mils. And some of the food that you want, it says a serving. So if you put, say for example, Swedish meatballs in, the bird's eye Swedish meatballs, it tells you in servings. So then you've got to find out what a serving is, or a gram. So it's not always consistent in the way that it gives you the points, how to work the points out. But obviously you can work it out in time, but it's not immediately obvious. Is that all the points I had to make? Oh, the only thing I did track, we found these new biscuits that are absolutely gorgeous. We bought them from Amazon and they're called, I think they're called vegan bakehouse cookies. We got them for Christmas and they are, well, we both think that they are some of the nicest biscuits we have ever tasted. They do them in 5 flavours. I bought a pack of 3, which was raspberry, there's one of them, I think it was raspberry and hazelnut. And the one was pistachio and the other one was orange and some other sort of nut. Oh, they were gorgeous, absolutely to die for. If you like biscuits, and particularly if you're looking for vegan biscuits that are nice, these ones, bakehouse cookies, are just gorgeous. But I couldn't find a points thing on the app for it, and it wouldn't scan into the scanner because I think things that are quite obscure aren't there. So I had to guess at how many points were in the cookie. I went for 6, which I think is probably somehow about right. But I only had 1 in the week, and I think perhaps if I'm a point out just on that one cookie, it's not going to make a lot of difference in the whole week. But they're lovely bakehouse cookies. So that's been my week. It's been very enjoyable, and I'm hoping that I'm going to have lost weight. I think I have lost weight, so I'll do the live weigh-in now. Last week I weighed 10 stone, 11 3/4 pounds. So we'll see what the difference is. Come on, start up. Speak to me. There we go.
The device is ready for use.
Okay. Just give it a minute to calculate.
10 stone, 10 1/4 pound.
10 stone, 10 1/4 pounds, so £1.50 off. I'm very pleased with that. If I can eat all my points and have such a good week and lose £1.50, then I'm made up. So I hope everybody else has had a good week. I hope you haven't been too cold or had too much snow. Some of my friends have had a lot of snow and it stayed all week, but we only had a smattering one day and it was gone. Let me know how you got on. I really like to know how everyone's doing. I know some people are just starting out this week. It's their first week back because they didn't start until the 2nd week in January. Let me know how you did. Let me know what plans you're on, if you're on anything new, particularly if you're doing a channel that I can follow. That would be really nice. I'd like to follow. I'm following quite a few people now and it's getting really interesting. People are picking up where they left off. People are coming back. So I shall see you next week. Hopefully you will see a lot less of me, and have a good week everybody. Take care. Bye.